Mate, this country's cooked. Absolutely cooked. And if you don't think so yet, you're either not paying attention or you're in on the grift. We've got a coalition stumbling around like a drunk uncle at Christmas, bleeding votes to every nut job with a Facebook page and a trucker cap, while Labor's out here acting like they've already won, coasting on vibes, fearmongering, and a smidge of Trump hate. Now before I rip into this whole circus, don't be a drongo. Like the video, subscribe if you've got the spine to handle some hard truths, and for the love of democracy, drop a comment telling me which mobs lost the plot harder. And yeah, grab the Elbow Knows Best t-shirt while it's still $16, only for the next 48 hours. Links in the description. Legend. Right. Let's talk about this election. Not the polished rubbish you're seeing on Sky or the ABC. I'm talking about the real story, the one behind the grins, the slogans, and the fake handshakes at local footy matches. According to Redbridge's Simon Welsh, who's basically neck-deep in voter data right now, the Liberals are tanking harder than a Wallabies scrum. Why? Because the people they are trying to win over don't want Diet Trump. They want full-fat, tinfoil hat-wearing, anti-immigration, government-smashing chaos. They want one nation. They want trumpet of patriots or whatever the hell they are calling themselves now. You reckon Peter Dutton's got the guts to go full rogue? Nah. He's stuck. Can't go full Trump cause the moderate center, especially those under 40s, think Trump's a walking bin fire. But he also can't pivot to the center cause his right-wing base thinks he's a soy boy in disguise. So what happens? Votes scatter. Primary vote drops. And instead of flipping seats, we end up in this weird limbo where everyone's angry but no one's changing sides. It's like two footy teams both playing crap, but the crowd just keeps switching pubs. Now, you'd think Labour would be copping it too, right? And they have in the past. Remember Bill Shorten? The bloke had more policies than a Centrelink website and still couldn't land a punch. But this time, Labour's playing it different. They are not being ambitious. That's right, not being ambitious is their strategy. And weirdly, it's working. Why? Because they've figured out that just not being the other mob is enough. Be safe, be vague, make Peter Dutton look like he's building a fallout bunker with Pauline Hanson and Bob Catter. Job done. But here's the twist that no one in Canberra wants to talk about. The under 40s are running the show now. Forget baby boomers. Forget old blokes screaming about petrol prices and gay marriage. Millennials and Gen Z are it. And guess what? They are voting Labour. Not because they are in love with Albanese. Nah. It's because they are terrified the coalition's about to turn this joint into a bad American reboot. Western Sydney, Western Melbourne, these battlegrounds are packed with young voters. And they are not buying the whole cut public service, make housing harder, bring everyone back to the office nonsense. They want flexibility, fairness, a roof over their head that doesn't cost the same as a private island, and a climate that isn't trying to barbecue us every January. But what's the coalition offering them? Vibes. Boomer energy. A housing policy that landed 4 weeks too late and barely moved the dial. And here's where it gets spicy. Simon Welsh reckons Dutton's crew missed the boat entirely. The moment to win hearts and minds? It was a month ago. When the country was just tuning in, when people were going, all right, what are these Muppets offering me this time? And what did they hear from the libs? Not housing. Not tax reform. Not wage fairness. Nah, they heard cut public service, no more work from home, and a big ol' middle finger to young families, renters, and basically anyone not living in a gated retirement village. Mate, the messaging was so cooked it could have come out of an overdone Bunnings snag. And here's the kicker. Those first impressions? They stick. People remember what you say when they are finally paying attention. And now, 2 weeks out, you've got a coalition scrambling for relevance while Labour's just coasting on the idea that at least they are not threatening to bring back coal as a lifestyle. But wait, there's more. Let's talk Trump. Not because he's on the ballot, but because he's haunting this election like a bogan ghost. Voters aren't dumb. They see the parallels. They see the language. They hear the dog whistles. And while Dutton might not be yelling build the wall, there's a certain flavor to the messaging that reeks of MAGA-lite. And Aussies? We are not buying it. The middle doesn't like it. The right thinks it's not extreme enough. And the left? They are just laughing into their oat milk lattes. The coalition's trapped in a no man's land. Not conservative enough for the fringe, not modern enough for the future. It's like they've tried to play both sides and ended up appealing to no one. And don't even get me started on the independents and third parties soaking up the leftovers like a hungry dog at a sausage sizzle. They are not just taking protest votes anymore, they are winning seats. The majors are bleeding out, and no one's got the guts to stitch it up. So can the coalition still win? Technically, sure. If Labour falls apart, if every ad lands perfectly, if Peter Dutton transforms into a housing-focused, climate-savvy, under-40 whisperer overnight, yeah, maybe. But let's be real. The runway's short. The messaging's muddled. And they've already played their cards when the public wasn't ready to hear them. Even the housing announcement, which, credit where it's due, was half decent, isn't enough to spark a comeback. Why? Because Labour's got their own housing plan. It might not be perfect, but at least they didn't wait until the 11th hour to mention it. In politics, timing is everything. And the Libs? They showed up late to the party, wearing the wrong shirt, and shouted about cutting red tape while everyone else was dancing. So where does this leave us? A fractured right, a cautious left, a bunch of angry voters stuck in between, and a generation that's finally figured out it holds the bloody power. This isn't the Australia of 20 years ago. This isn't about backyard BBQs, Howard battlers, and footy metaphors anymore. This is about housing, climate, jobs that don't suck your soul out, and politicians who actually sound like they give a toss. But here's the cold truth, mate. If the Libs don't reinvent themselves fast, they are gonna be stuck in the wilderness for a very long time. And not the nice kind of wilderness. I'm talking political Mad Max, desperate, dusty, and full of fringe weirdos fighting over the last bottle of relevance. So yeah, call me a lefty, call me a stirrer, call me whatever you want, but if you still reckon this mob's got it under control, you're dreaming. Smash that like button, drop a comment telling me which policy broke your brain the hardest, and don't forget the Albo Knows Best merch, $16, 48 hours, link down below. Catch you next time, and remember, if politics doesn't make you laugh, it'll bloody well make you cry.